long ago, and it happened far away. The moral of the story has been lost until today. Although we shouldn't let the past complicate the now, we wrap a stack of artifacts that help us show us how. Whatnot hopes and soggy dreams become who I am today. I'm feeling more alive in more important ways. Lost all ability to think for myself. I put it on the table, then you help yourself. Wow, wow. This place stinks of corruption. Shots fired confirm my assumption. Everyone is evil in their own special way. This advice I'm giving you today.
Hello everybody, I'm Mr. Childers, and I am very happy to welcome you to the course ACE Classical Studies 1 here at Four Corners Upper School. This is our second year running this course. We had a lot of fun with it last year, and I expect we'll be in for much the same this year. I'm recording this video right now. It is the 19th of July, I think. It's the 19th-ish of July. So I haven't yet seen my roster for who's going to be in this class. But if it's anything like the previous year, I expect that there will be many of you who have taken my humanities class either last year, the year before, or possibly even the year before that. Just in case you haven't taken my course before, please be aware that I will occasionally be videotaping in class. Maybe the only good thing that came out of the COVID pandemic and the creative approaches to education that we had to attempt during that pandemic was recognizing the value of having a videotape record of lesson material, so that students who aren't able to be present are able to go view that material, keep up, or use it to review, or whatever. So my habit now, 3 years running, this is the fourth year doing this, my habit has been to maintain a YouTube video playlist for each of the courses that I teach. I won't be filming each and every class period because I have previous year's material also that I work in, but sometimes I will be filming in your class with you right there, so that you're aware. Any material, any video material featuring students under the age of 18 is always categorized as unlisted on the YouTube playlist, which means that somebody has to have the full YouTube web address. Some scumbag just sitting in his mom's basement typing in "high school girls, Florida" isn't going to pull up a video of you sitting in my class talking. The reason I'm filming this video on my own is for the very first day of class, I don't want to worry about videotaping and technology and all the things that can go wrong, so I'm just preparing this introduction ahead of time. This video is specifically intended for people who are part of my Classical Studies 1 course who are not able to be with us on the first day of school. So if you're part of if you sign up for the course but you're planning to be here, or if it's after the start time and you were here for the first day of school, you're absolutely under no obligation to continue watching this video, though you're welcome to. This video is really designed to cover the same things that we're going to cover in class, in school, on the first day of class. So this course is called ACE Classical Studies, one of a number of courses in the ACE program that we offer here at Four Corners, and ACE stands for Advanced International Certificate of Education. Now, you can take one ACE course, two ACE courses, or you can take a full load of ACE courses. And if you take enough of them, I don't have the number off the top of my head, but if you take enough of the ACE courses, then you're able to graduate with a special ACE diploma, which makes you a more appealing candidate to colleges, universities moving forward. But the ACE courses like this one also provide you with a running start, a head start on college. you earn college credit for successful completion of any of the ACE courses offered here at Four Corners. The ACE program is overseen by an organization called Cambridge Assessment International Education, which is a division of the University of Cambridge in Cambridge, England. Four Corners University, Four Corners Upper School, I don't know, we were in our 8th or 9th year here, but the graduating class of 2019 was the very first graduating senior class, so we don't have quite the history at Four Corners that they have at Cambridge, but Cambridge has been around since 1209. If you took my humanities course and the term scholasticism means anything to you, scholasticism, the movement of medieval scholars which kick-started the Renaissance, brought European culture back to life, Cambridge University was on the front lines of that scholastic movement. So this course has a respectable pedigree, and can get you ahead of the game. Successful completion of this course with the exam that comes at the end of the course will result in 3 college credits for you. So that is a great benefit to this course. Cambridge courses, or ACE courses, come in 2 varieties. There are AS level courses. That's year 1. AS stands for Advanced Subsidiary. That's where you are right now. This is year 1. Many of their courses also offer a second year, the advanced level. As of right now, this being the 2022-23 school year, I am launching our Four Corners very first A-level course, and that is Classical Studies Year 2. So if you find that you take well to the things that we do here this year, come on back next year and you can earn twice as much college credit. If you're a senior and you'd like to take Classical Studies 2 with me next year, all you have to do is fail all your other classes and not graduate, so that when you're coming back next year as a 5th year high school student, 19 years old, well, you sign on up for Classical Studies 2. Everybody else, it's open and available for you. So here's how Cambridge courses translate to college credit. A typical bachelor's degree, a typical 4-year college degree requires 120 credits. You're going to see slight variance on that from university to university, and slight variance on that from state to state, but not much. It needs to be pretty much standardized, so that no matter where you got your bachelor's degree from, if you have an accredited bachelor's degree, the future employer, the future graduate school can look at that and understand that you have a certain credential, you've accomplished a certain amount of things. And so it takes about 120 credits to graduate college. ACE courses, typically, there's some exceptions. Some offer a little bit more than this, the more advanced mathematics and engineering courses in particular. And I do have a document I'll share with you that will outline specifically course by course by course. But typically, including this class, ACE courses equate to 3 college credits per course. Here in the state of Florida, colleges and universities in the state of Florida are required by law to accept up to 45 ACE credits in transfer, which means if you take the maximum number of ACE courses as a high school student, you will enter college already having more than 1/3 of your graduation requirements fulfilled. So if these courses are something that appeal to you and something you feel comfortable with, and comfortable doesn't mean unchallenged. These courses will challenge you, but if you find that, like lifting weights, as if I know anything about lifting weights, if you find, like lifting weights, that the pain of the challenge is paying off as you are growing and bulking up intellectually, if this is your first ACE course, take more. because you have the opportunity to really get a head start on college. And when it comes to the college credit associated with this class and with other Cambridge courses, I look at it as a zero risk, high benefit scenario. The college credit comes from successful completion of exams that come after you've taken the course. For my class especially, I don't know how every other teacher does it, but generally I think this is how most of them do it. Speak to your other ACE teachers for sure. But the exam grade does not count toward your grade in high school. It doesn't go on your report card, it doesn't go on your record. So if you do great in the class and you bomb the exam, you can still have an A for the class. The only thing that happens when the exam doesn't go well is you don't get the college credit. Well, you're in high school. You're not supposed to get college credit. Getting college credit is a bonus. If you shoot for that bonus and it doesn't work out, you've lost precisely nothing. And if you shoot for that bonus and it does work out, well then, congratulations. You will walk out of high school with some of your college work already finished, which translates to a savings not only in time, but a savings of thousands and thousands of dollars, because a college education is not cheap. Okay, who am I that you are stuck dealing with? My name is Mr. Jeff Childers. You see my email address is here on the screen. You want to make note of this if you don't have it. It's jchilders1 at fourcornerscharter.org. You want to make sure you always remember the 1 in my email address, or you will end up emailing not me, but Associate Principal Joe Childers. Yes, my younger brother is my boss. If you're not aware of that, that is how you know that you've succeeded in life. So if you don't want to get stuck emailing this turd, then always remember the 1 in my email address. I'm 42 years old. I am a 1997 graduate of Minooka High School. Yes, I come from not only an entirely different century, but an entirely different millennium. And yet somehow I am still alive and walking around. I have a Bachelor of Arts degree in philosophy from Conception Seminary College in Missouri, and a Master's of Arts degree in theology from St. Meinrad Seminary in Indiana. I've been here at Four Corners since 2008. And since joining Four Corners, or 2018, pardon me, since joining Four Corners back in 2018, I have taught world cultural geography, world history, United States government, introduction to the humanities, which is, I call that class my baby, and by baby I mean like this kind of baby, not this kind of baby. I get weird looks when I say that sometimes because I don't clarify. Classical Studies 1, and also beginning this year, Classical Studies 2. So that's me. That's who you are stuck dealing with this year. Okay. The way this course will run is, imagine you were on a train that is somehow defying physics and running on 2 sets of tracks at the same time. In this course, simultaneously, there will be a high school track and a college track. High school level work and college level work. To be clear, this is not a choice between the two. Every student is participating in both tracks. The high school track will consist, if you've taken my courses before, any of my courses before, you know how I do things. This course will run pretty much the same way my other course does. Lectures and discussions. The in-class discussion is especially important. I center my class around that. That's why I'm kind of a turd about people skipping class, because I don't give you busy work. I'm not having you, okay, write this word 15 times and then trace your fingers and make a turkey. I'm not wasting your time during in-class time, which is why it's important to be here. But lectures and discussions, symposia. If you're not familiar with a symposium, you will be. I won't go into detail now, but you will be this year. There will be reading assignments, projects, independent learning opportunities. There will be all students in this course will conduct 2 independent research projects during 2 quarters of their choice. All students will conduct 2 independent research projects during 2 quarters of their choice. Topics are to be chosen from these categories. The classical world. What's the classical world? Well, you'll get plenty of time to learn more about that, but the classical world is essentially ancient Greece, the Hellenistic kingdoms. You'll learn what that is if you don't know already. The Roman Republic and the Roman Empire. That's the classical world. Category 2, the ancient world outside Europe. So you can use your independent project as the opportunity to be reminded that there is more to the world than just old dead white guys. You might want to look at ancient Egypt, ancient China, what's going on in sub-Saharan Africa, Native America, so on and so forth. Third category is medieval literature rooted in orature. This word orature, there is a real possibility you've never heard that word before, and that's okay. Just hit the mental pause button on worrying, hey, what is this? One of our very first lessons this year, I think it's lesson 3. I've got a calendar in front of me, but I'm standing too far away from it, and I can't see well enough to tell you exactly which lesson number it is. But that is the title of one of our earliest lessons is Orature. You'll find out what that is, and you'll find that many people will be very fascinated by that category. So you could choose, I want to do a first quarter project and a fourth quarter project. I want to do a second quarter project and a third quarter project. You'll do 2 projects during any 2 quarters of your choice. You'll make that choice in a few days after the beginning of the class. It's strongly suggested, but not commanded, that seniors avoid choosing a fourth quarter project. Seniors here at the beginning of the year, you have never yet been a senior during fourth quarter. I have been a senior during fourth quarter, and I have worked with dozens of seniors during fourth quarter. It's not the best time to embark on a brand new major research project. But you do you. If you want to do a fourth quarter project, you're welcome to, but I suggest seniors choose 2 other quarters beside fourth. Research is to be presented as either an interactive symposium, and the interactive symposium, you will present the findings of your research to the class in an engaging way. I really prefer for you to engage with the people in the room, to spark discussion. As a bare minimum, the interactive requirement will be met just by being open to questions. But if you want to put a more of a creative spin on it, to engage with the people in the room, more power to you. You can check out, I'll share the link with you of the YouTube playlist for last year's Classical Studies 1 course. You'll see many examples of student-led symposia, all different styles. Everybody has their own style, their own way of doing things. You find what works for you. If that's not your preference to lead a symposia, you can also present an 8 to 10 page paper in MLA format. If MLA format is a mystery to you, don't worry. Even before we get to the orature lesson, we will have a workshop on how to construct a paper in MLA format. Full project details will be available on Schoology. You'll be exempt. So let's say you're doing a project in second and third quarter. Well, then during second and third quarter, you'll be exempt from almost all of the regular high school level assignments that are given during that quarter. which will allow you to focus on conducting your research. I say almost. There will be a few exceptions, but I do promise you there are very, very few. It's not I'm not going to psych. Everything is an exception. You have to do everything. No, there's just a small number of assignments that everybody has to do no matter what. Anything else on the high school side of things, you'll be exempt from during the quarter that you're conducting your research. As far as the college track, everybody is going to be conducting 2 major group research assignments. And this is where your college credit comes in. All right. You're going to take a major essay exam in or around November 2023. Yes, the exam for this course is in the next school year after this course has ended. So you will come back. If you leave, you'll come back and you'll sit for that exam. The exam will cover 2 topics. You will have options over which 2 topics you'll be tested on. One topic will be related to ancient Greece. One topic will be related to ancient Rome. To prepare yourself for that exam, you will spend the full year working in groups, preparing study guides, detailed study guides, to get you ready for these exams. This is what, when you hear me use the phrase Cambridge projects, that's what I'm talking about. Your Cambridge project is to prepare for the Cambridge exam by putting together these 2 study guides, one Greek, one Roman. Tomorrow's class, or the second class of the year, will be completely dedicated to going into detail what those Cambridge projects are all about, what your topic options are, and what that is all about. In a more general sense, though, what is this course all about? Classical studies. What are the classics? Well, you hear the word used quite a bit. You hear it used in regard to Coca-Cola, according to not its original recipe, because its original recipe had cocaine in it. That's the coca in Coca-Cola. Classic rock from the... I don't even want to know what they're playing on a classic rock station these days, to tell you the truth. I think of classic rock, I think of rock from the 60s and 70s. Classic rock today, they're probably playing stuff from like 2012 or something. Classics get used to mean something that is old and has stood the test of time. But in the academic world, the classics has a much more specific meaning. In academia, classics refers to classical studies as a field of the humanities. Now wait a minute, what are the humanities? Well, if you took my humanities course, you'll recall that the humanities, also known as the liberal arts, are disciplines which study aspects of human society and culture, the knowledge of which is intrinsically good. Classical studies is one of the humanities. It's a field of humanities, and it studies ancient Western culture with a special focus on Greece and Rome, especially through primary sources. And this may be you right now. You're like, all right, ancient Greece, ancient Rome, just why exactly in the hell should I care about that? Well, you decided to sign up for the class. And I don't want the class to be punishment. I think you will find that pursuing our Greek and Roman roots, and I say our, and I mean that. It doesn't matter whether we are ethnically Greek or Roman or not. I'm not. I have to go back more than 1,000 years to find an ancestor from Italy. But the Greek and Roman cultural heritage is something that belongs to all of humankind, and especially to those of us here in Western civilization. To talk a little further about this, to give you more of an idea about why anyone might care about these things and why anyone might find these things interesting. If you stay tuned, I'm going to play, the rest of this video is going to be an excerpt from the actual in-class, first day of class in 2021, last year's course, picking up right where we left off, the question of why should I give a dang.
What he has to tell us. Does anybody recognize this guy? It's not, but you're in the right ballpark. You're in the right ballpark. It's not Alexander either.
Is he Roman?
He's Roman. He's Roman. Yeah. So what you're looking at is the most powerful man in the world at his time. Alexander would have been the most powerful man in the world at his time. This is just a different time. His full name is Imperator Caesar Traianus Adrianus Augustus. In English, we would say Hadrian.
That's it.
Now,
No more.
maybe this word that I pronounce with its Latin pronunciation, with the bad Chicago accent, that we would normally say Caesar, is a flashing red light. Ooh, this guy's probably a big deal. And anyone know what imperator means? Emperor. Lee got it? Lee got it? Emperor. So you're looking at a dude here. He lived from 76 to 138, not 1976. He was born in the year 76. Lived to the year 138. The town of Italica in Hispania. What does Hispania sound like? Sounds like Hispanic. Okay. And it sounds like Spain. And you're both right. So Hispania is the name of a Roman province in Europe, the same place that today we call Spain. The reason people from countries that predominantly speak the Spanish language are called Hispanic is because the Hispanic or the Spanish language developed in the province of Hispania. From 117 to 138, Hadrian ruled as the 14th emperor of Rome. What you see here is an aerial shot of his summer vacation home. A lot of it's in ruins, but Vlad says, yes, it's nice. It's one of the places Vlad goes on 53 vacations a year. Maybe one of them someday you'll go to Hadrian's villa. There's another shot.
He said, yeah, I'd love to spend my time.
And as you look at, and apparently I couldn't find a more distorted picture. I need to find, because that would be, you can tell that would be a beautiful picture if it weren't so pixelated like that. There's another shot. So, when I look at this, or when you look at this, somebody who's got this place as their backup house, as their summer vacation home to visit when they feel like, what do you automatically know or can at least reasonably guess about that person? McGarrett said it. They're rich. They're rich. Yeah. I mean, this is his backup house, and it's nicer than any place I've ever been. Right? I couldn't afford to look at this place out the window driving by it. And that tells you that Hadrian had money. Giant piles of money. We already know he had power. Now we know he's got a giant pile of money. So we might conclude from just this little bit of data we have on him that perhaps in the Roman Empire, money and power are connected. Does that seem like a reasonable guess?
Yes.
Very different than life today, right? No? Oh, you wait, you think that money and power are still connected?
Yes.
So that those of us that don't get to just swim in giant piles of cash, we might not have as much control over our own destinies as those who. Well, let's test it out. Let's test it out. Let's look at some powerful people today and see if they're loaded the way Hadrian was loaded, or if they're just average, everyday, working class stiffs like you and me. So here are the 6 living presidents of the United States. Jimmy Carter here. He's still alive. Yes, he is the longest living president ever. He's 96. He was president when I was born. The 2 after him are dead, but he's still going. He just celebrated his 75th wedding anniversary. What are these dollar figures? Well, that's their net worth. Ballpark of what kind of money they got sitting in the bank. Yeah. Jimmy Carter's got about $10 million. Bill Clinton, $75 million. George W. Bush, $39 million. Barack Obama, $40 million. Donald Trump, $2.4 billion. That's 2,400 million. Because a billion is 1,000 million. And Joe Biden, $9 million. Gosh.
Only 9?
Yeah, oh yeah, only 9? Poor Joe Biden. I almost want to. So should we take up a collection and help poor President Biden get himself out of the poorhouse? Not that much. Not that much has changed since the ancient world. Money and power are still very closely connected, which means those of us that don't have piles and piles and piles of money have to be very intentional about how we work to forge our own destinies, because it doesn't happen automatically. What happens automatically when you ain't got giant piles of cash is somebody else forges your destiny for you. They don't have a green laurel wreath on their head, and they don't call themselves Caesar anymore, but you better believe it's still going on. Here's where the power and here's where the money came from. What you're looking at here, this is the Roman Empire as it was in the year 117. In 117, that was its greatest extent, the largest it ever got. So all these, he didn't ruin it, but he stopped expanding. He stopped focusing on expansion. I don't know if just looking at a map with no context, I don't know if it jumps out at you how big this area is, how diverse this area is. This is one massive mega state. You got England, you got Egypt, under the same flag. 2 very different places, very different cultures, very far away from each other, all part of the same empire. You've got Spain and Syria, 2 very distant, very different places. Israel and Italy, very distant, very different, all under the same mega state. And when you're running a mega state, when you're running an empire, so I'm the emperor, all right? I'm the emperor, and I say, okay, Manny, Liam, Vlad, Leah, your territory is now my territory. I'm looking to take care of their best interest, right? I've conquered you. I'm sorry. I just put all over you. Best wishes. I'll stand back. I'm looking out for your best interest, right? I'm a conquering emperor. You're my colonies. I'm the colonizing power. I'm looking out for you. No. I basically stick a tube in the ground and suck all the resources out of your territories and into my pockets. That's why you build empires. That's why you colonize. You don't colonize to make other people feel good. You colonize to give yourself more wealth and power. And most often we pursue the power because the wealth comes along with it. Now, so you've probably heard the term the West or Western civilization thrown around from time to time. Here's what the West is. Here's what that means. Western civilization, and here's why we still talk about Rome today. Western civilization includes nations that were part of the Roman Empire, except for those nations that went on to become dominantly Islamic. So except for the Middle Eastern or Islamic nations, nations that were part of the Roman Empire, and those colonized or evangelized and transformed by former parts of the Roman Empire. So, if the countries were part of the empire or were later conquered by former parts of the empire. So, Britain was part of the empire, it's part of the West. Ireland was not part of the empire, but it's colonized by Britain and transformed. What language do they speak in Ireland? English. Yeah. There is an Irish language. It's almost dead. All right. They speak the language of the colonizers. So, a country is Western if it was part of the empire or if it was colonized or evangelized. Now, what's evangelized mean? You ever hear that word, evangelism? Scholar says an incomplete form. That's not quite it. Evangelism is the spread of Christianity. Right? Now, yeah, so now, why would the spread of Christianity have anything to do with Rome? Because it doesn't for the longest period of the classical world. But here in the last century of the Western Empire, Christianity became the official religion of Rome, year 380. When the empire collapses, 96 years later, that math is probably terrible, Christianity continues to spread, and now the Christians are bringing Roman culture with them. So, if you were part of the empire, or you're colonized or evangelized.
Students, please pardon the interruption. This is announcements regarding lunches. Middle school lunches. When first lunch arrives via scheduled lunch, you will enter the cafeteria and take a seat and wait for the instructions. Second and third lunch, please wait for the announcement to transition to lunch to make sure that we have the cafeteria cleared out, clean, and then we'll move that way. Thank you, and have a great day.
We'll be fine. All right. So when Christianity continues to spread, Roman culture continues to spread. So here's Ireland. What's the dominant religion of Ireland? Christianity, and a specific form of Christianity. Roman Catholic Christianity. Why is it called Roman Catholic Christianity? Because the Roman Catholic Church is the official state church of the Western Roman Empire. Whereas the Greek Orthodox Church, so these are your two largest Christian bodies in the world. The Greek Orthodox Church and its sister churches, including the Russian Orthodox Church, are the official state church of the Eastern Roman Empire. To this day, so much of our culture is defined by this ancient empire. So when we're talking about this empire, even if we're not from any of these places, or if our ancestors aren't from any of these places, our world has been so impacted and formed by this empire that its story continues to be our story as a human people. We talk about the West, Western culture. Anything that's light blue, dark blue, or purple in this is the West. So these are the parts of the world most impacted today by the Roman Empire. And we're in there, even though Rome fell 1,000 years before anybody on that side of the world knew we were here. And yet, we are part of this West defined by the Roman Empire. Notice that it's not even totally based on geography. Australia, New Zealand, it's about as far east as you can get. But it's still part of the Western mega culture. And there are other mega cultures on Earth, sub-Saharan African mega culture, Islamic or Middle Eastern mega culture, Hindu, Buddhist. Japan sort of does its own thing. Where's Greece fit in? Well, it's because of this dude, Alexander. What is Alexander the Great known for? Conquering. And as he built, so this is about 300 BC, so long before the rise of the Roman Empire. When he builds his empire, he heads east, and he makes it all the way into India. He conquers Afghanistan. We've been at war in Afghanistan your entire lives. Why have we been at war in Afghanistan your entire lives with no swift victory? Because the last guy to win in Afghanistan was Alexander the Great. When Alexander conquers this empire, he spreads Greek culture everywhere he goes. And it's Greek culture and Greek ideas that influence the world the most, including the rising Roman Empire. When Rome emerges and conquers what used to be Alexander's territory, Rome then soaks up Greek ideas like a sponge. And that's why we talk about the two peoples, the Greeks and the Romans, together in classical studies. And from them both, we have inherited so much that is important to us. We've inherited their political traditions. Democracy, we get that from the Greek city-state of Athens. We've inherited their way of storytelling. To this day, our stories are still inspired by their stories. Their stories are still the foundations of our stories. Their educational system, liberal arts, servile arts, we talk about that in humanities class. We may not use those terms every day, but we still divide our curriculum up in the same basic categories they did in ancient Rome. And here you have Roman schools. Not much looks different. In fact, this guy even looks like he's playing on his phone. I don't know what he's actually supposed to be doing. He's not listening to his teacher. None of this is to say, as much as we have to learn from Greece and Rome, none of this is to say that they were flawless. None of this is to say that the heritage they left for us is only positive. They've given us good, true, and beautiful things, but they've given us ugly things. And we have also followed in their ugly footsteps. So, the Greek and Roman tradition of oppression and barbarity, of celebrating power and celebrating violence, of handing over to those in power the right to do as they will to the rest of us. It is also a Greek and Roman tradition. And if we want to understand what it is we see when we look at ourselves in the mirror, we've got to understand the ghost of Hadrian and his predecessors, the leaders of Greece and Hadrian Rome. We'll explore all of this. The great hero Achilles, hero of the Iliad, figure from Greek myth, had a choice. The gods told him, you could live a long, healthy, quiet life. You'll die, and the world will forget that you ever lived. Or you can accomplish great things. And you'll be remembered and celebrated for the rest of time. But you're going to die young. And Achilles had to struggle with that choice. I wonder what we would choose if given the same choice. Think about that. I've only got a minute to show you this next thing. But that kind of choice of Achilles, that was the choice that that the people in power in Rome made. If you were to just look, this is just the Wikipedia list of Roman emperors. Gives you their name, life details. All right, so Augustus died of natural causes. Tiberius, natural causes. Caligula, murdered. Claudius, murdered by his wife. Nero, suicide. Good times. Galba, murdered. The next one, suicide. The next one, tortured and murdered. The next one, natural causes. Lucky dude. Next one, two lucky natural causes in the world. Domitian, assassinated. Nerva, stroke. Okay, cool. Good news. Natural causes, natural causes, natural causes, natural causes. These are the 5 good emperors, they're called. Natural causes, and then strangled to death in his bath. And then murdered by the guards, and executed by the Senate. Natural causes, murdered, executed, murdered, thrown into the river after murdered, lynched. All right, and let's just look. We've got 200 years more of this, and it doesn't get any better. Being emperor didn't only give you power, it was almost certainly a death sentence. So it tells us something about what people valued. Why would you risk that? Unless that power, that honor, that memory for years to come was the most important thing to you. Tomorrow we talk about how the Cambridge Projects and Cambridge exam works.
This place stinks of corruption.